Blue Wire.
Kirk Cousins, he's going to be a Minnesota Viking. This was the right call.
Cousins pressure, hit as he throws, going for Thielen. He's got it! Touchdown! Oh my Diggs! Stay up! Oh my God! Oh my God! 30! No way! Touchdown! It's a Minneapolis miracle!
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome into Bleeding Purple, a podcast about the Minnesota Vikings. We are part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. We are brought to you this week by Untuck It and Untuckit.com. My name is Tyler Haig. I am joined, as always, by Mr. Adam Patrick. What up, buddy?
What's up? I'm happy you decided to do the podcast today. You know, after you went Twitter famous yesterday. I wasn't sure if you were gonna be too good for the podcast or not.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned it. I actually do have a lot of stuff in the works right now, but for this week, I will I will continue to
come down to
my
our regular people level.
My podcasting obligations for now. I'll do it for now. Yeah, if you didn't know, podcast world, Kermit with the little sippy tea next to Kirk. That was me. It's no big deal, but I'm the one who did that. Several thousand likes and a couple hundred retweets. I mean, it's no big deal, but it's
and then
just...
and then I came along and posted that Diggs video.
I was so bummed. I didn't even send you a message because I was so like, God, he just already surpassed me in likes and retweets. That was like a one night thing. I was like thinking I was something hot over here, telling my wife like, you got to see how many, like, this is crazy. And then you're like, yeah, one video, no problem. Boom, 3,000 retweets, no problem.
I had to step up my game.
Yeah, I will say this about the Twitter thing though. That's the first time that's ever happened to me where I've gotten that many. That's kind of fun. I don't know if I would like it long term.
Notifications and stuff. Yeah.
I did actually. I didn't shut off the notifications, but I left it downstairs, and then as I was sleeping, I could still hear it. A lot of likes. But yeah, it was fun actually.
Can you imagine like if you're like a celebrity?
No.
You cannot have your notifications on.
No, not at all. Seriously, even guys like, I mean, he's kind of a celebrity, but even a dude like a PA, like my mom wouldn't know who PA was, but I would, if I was Paul Allen, I would never, ever have my notifications on, ever, under any circumstances. No. All right, let's get back to the football game.
For multiple reasons.
Yeah, for so many reasons. We still have, well, we should not talk about that on the podcast out loud. We'll talk about that off air. Let's talk about this incredible football game that we got to watch on Sunday. A tale of two halves. I'm sure that's going to be like the main title for podcasts, Vikings related today. But horrible in the first half from the Vikings. Very, very good in the second half. And they wind up doing enough in the second half to come back and win. I want to ask you this because I'm starting to notice that I don't want to call it a narrative, but it's almost like gaslighting. We're looking at this as, well, the adjustments and this, and they changed this, and I did what they had to do to make it work. What were your feelings on the way the Vikings had played at the end of the first half? Where were you at with them?
Disappointed.
Well, yeah, that's a great place.
Sure.
Great place to start.
It felt like they were trying to get a win maybe in like the most conservative way possible. Like you kind of look at the Redskins game where they didn't really come out with it didn't seem like they came out with too much of a game plan. They just, wanted to do the basics, run the ball and get more points than the other team and walk out of there with no injuries. And that's kind of how it seemed like they were trying to do it this week. Before their bye next week to make sure, no one else got hurt, which didn't happen.
Thank God.
But then the Broncos were like, that's cool, but we're going to score a lot of points and we have a good defense, so we're going to prevent you from doing anything you want to do. So you're going to have to actually try to get this win.
Yes.
And so then the Vikings were like, damn it.
All right, I guess we'll do it then. Sheesh. I think you nailed it on the game plan. The game plan was totally, we're just going to run Dalvin Cook and beat them, and it's not even going to be that hard, and we'll get in and we'll get out, and it won't be an issue. if you were the opposing defense, what would you try to take away from the Vikings offense going into that football game? You'd say, I don't want Dalvin Cook to run all over us, and we're going to try and force Kirk Cousins to beat us.
Yep.
Both of those things happened. They took Dalvin Cook away, and Kirk Cousins actually did wind up beating this team. Mm-hmm. At the end of the first half, confidence not the right word. I was very disappointed in how they played, but there was nothing that the Vikings were doing. Scratch that. There was nothing that there was nothing that Denver was doing to the Vikings offensively that was rendering them incapable of moving the ball. Every issue that they had in that first half was a muff punt and they get the ball in a short field, or they fumble and they get the ball in the short field,
dumb penalty.
Totally, or it's fourth down and you jump off sides on a punt. What are you doing? Stuff like that over and over and over and over and over, to the point where by the time the first half showed up, I was like, well, that's good they got all of that out of their system, because there's no way you can muff two punts, lose a kickoff lose a fumble on a kickoff. None of that stuff is going to keep happening.
Don't underestimate the Vikings.
Right, exactly. That's a fair point. But that was why I, after they scored the first touchdown, the Vikings, that was when I started texting people, if they get another touchdown here before Denver scores, they're going to win this game. Because it was obvious after that first initial drive, that they were not going to, that whatever Denver had done to stop them from being successful in offense, that was donezo. And they were not going to have a problem.
They figured out what worked against the Broncos, and that was no huddle. They didn't give them a chance to sub in people. They didn't give them a chance to get set and figure out what the Vikings might be doing, and they were quick, and Kirk Cousins made some great throws. On third down, he had that nice throw. I think it was to Tyler Conklin.
Yes, it was.
3rd and 13. That was a huge throw.
Huge. He played so great, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, he did.
That's my point there.
He had a fumble. He did have a fumble. But that was, I don't even know if that was his fault, because it was his blind side. And he was still in the pocket, so it was,
totally. And
those are going to happen.
Dude whiffed on him. That is one of those, if that happens 10 times, Kirk is going to get hit and fumble probably 8 of them.
Yeah, that can happen to any quarterback.
Totally. That's just who Kirk Cousins, that's just part of the game. That's not Kirk holding the ball too long. That's not Kirk getting himself into trouble. That's not any of those things. That's a separate deal. That was trying to be my original point. There's a lot of talk right now about the adjustments that they made on offense. Literally, the only adjustment that I saw was a no huddle. Everything else was just they stopped giving the other team the ball and stopped doing. It wasn't just turnovers. It was things like a holding call on a big play, and now it's 2nd and 20 whatever, and little stuff like that. And the Vikings offense, say what you will about Kirk Cousins and the wide receivers and Dalvin Cook and whatever, but if you're 3rd and 13, it's just not going to happen that often for this offense. And I think that is why we need to give credit where credit is due here. This is what Kirk Cousins was brought in here to do. That game is exactly what people have been looking for. You're down 20. Well, it's all on Kirk Cousins, because you're not going to be able to run the ball in that situation. They couldn't, and they still wound up winning the game. I think we should be like...
The big thing out of this is people are like, oh, it's Kirk Cousins' first ever fourth quarter comeback win in a Vikings uniform, and it's like he definitely could have had more if not for the defense or Vikings kickers, because he should have had one last year against the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
What else? He should have had one against the Chiefs 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
But the defense
didn't
let them march down the field and then gave up the kick.
Mm-hmm. There was another one, too, not that long ago, that he drove them down and scored, and then the other team came down and scored. Yeah, totally. It's so funny that football's the ultimate team game, and it's not just about one guy, and 11 people all have to be doing it right. But then when they win a game, it's like, oh, that was Kirk, or that was Kirk's fault. Or, it's like it's so funny how we can – it's easy to take away – from what Kirk Cousins did in this game, because it's Denver and they're not very good, and they were down by that much and they better have won that game. Like, it's easy to take away from what this was, but that to me is exactly why you brought Kirk Cousins in here, is to win games like that, and he hasn't been able to do it for you, and he did it. Ever see an untucked button down? They look bad. Why? Because they weren't meant to be worn that way. Thankfully, there's Untuck It, the original button-down shirt actually designed to be worn untucked. No matter your size or shape, Untuck It shirts always fall at the perfect untucked length. And with the holidays near, there's no better gift for your favorite guy who needs an upgrade. I strongly dislike shopping for clothing, and Untuck It is perfect. Not only do the clothes look good, but you can find your favorite Untuck It style online, or you can check out one of their 80 brick and mortar stores. I can choose from styles like wrinkle-free button-down, super soft flannels, outerwear, and more. With Untuck It, your shirts never look baggy, bulgy, too long, or too big. And their website is easy to use. They even have a whole page devoted to helping you find your fit. So whether you're shopping for the perfect holiday gift or just trying to craft a smart, relaxed style of your own, Untuck It is the way to go. Visit untuckit.com and use code BLUE for 20% off at checkout. That's untuckit.com, untuckit.com, and promo code BLUE for 20% off.
And at that point, when you're down 20 points, it doesn't really matter what the other team's record is. You're still down 20 points to an NFL team
who knows that you're not going to be able to run the ball.
And, you only have 2 quarters. Yeah, you're not running the ball as often as you would like. And you only have 2 quarters, maybe 4 or 5 possessions with the ball to come back when you're down 20 points. The Broncos ended up getting 23, so they had to score again. I loved who are the announcers?
Oh, dude.
Rich Gannon.
Yeah, poor Rich Gannon.
When they scored the
he's a
touchdown,
football player.
he's like,
it's math.
Like, why are they going for 2? It's like to make it a 2-possession game instead of a 3-possession.
I was in real time. I was trying to explain to even my wife was like, that doesn't make any sense. I was like, you're right. He's wrong, and they're going for 2 because it's going to be an 8-point game. And they'll be able to go for 2 again next time. It's easy. Football math, man. What do you?
It's a quarterback. He's probably hitting the head a couple times.
I was just gonna say. Probably some concussions, and I mean,
I think Kevin Harlan had like a stroke or something during Diggs' touchdown catch yesterday too, because he sounded like, Adam Sandler and Billy Madison yesterday,
totally. I can't even when Kevin Harlan is screwing up. I'm such a big fan of Kevin Harlan.
No, it was good.
He's like my favorite.
There were a couple mistakes that he had, but I can live with his mistakes. Compared to Dick Stockton, who's like
compare the two.
On the field.
Exactly. Compare the two. It's like I can't. I would just all day much rather have Kevin Harlan.
But let me ask you this, because I was thinking of this today, and I think I figured out the answer. But is this win more impressive than the Minneapolis Miracle?
Wow, great question. I would say yes to more impressive. I think the Minneapolis Miracle was more awesome and amazing and cooler given...
it was one play.
Yeah, one play, and given how much it meant and what it was for, playoff style, blah, 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 blah. And we conveniently ignore the fact that they were in control in that game, gave it all up, and then needed a miracle to come back. This, to me, is more impressive because when you're down 20 points and Kirk Cousins is your quarterback and the offensive line looks the way the offensive line has looked over the course of this season.
You can't use that Kirk Cousins thing anymore because he's playing pretty damn good.
He is playing really well. But this, to me, is like, this is my whole point, is we're still doing the same thing with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
And it's like, if that game doesn't get you to be like, he's worth it, this is what we wanted, then you were never...
People are still on the Kirk Cousins train.
And it's never going to work for them. There is no version of Kirk Cousins that they will be okay with.
They could win the Super Bowl and be like, oh, well, Dalvin Cook's why they won the Super Bowl.
It would have. Yeah, if they win the Super Bowl, it would be despite Kirk Cousins as opposed to... Yeah. Because to me, this was the game that, like, should have silenced all of the Kirk Cousins, not haters, but like if you as a Vikings fan, on 1500 they talk a lot, Score North, about checking the boxes. Phil Mackey talks about checking the boxes. This was every one of those boxes were checked after this game. I don't know what else you could want from him, from Kirk Cousins, besides what what he gave you. Also, kind of lost in this whole mess is Dalvin Cook is already over 1,000 yards rushing this season. That's phenomenal.
11 games? Yeah.
Correct me if I'm sure his pace is all screwed up after this game, but he was on pace to have more rushing yards than
Adrian Peterson?
In that 1 year, the MVP year?
More total yards.
Total yards. Oh, yeah, because then we would already be talking about the rushing record. If he was, yeah. My bad.
Total yards.
Sorry. If I would have thought about that first.
Because Dalvin Cook can actually catch.
Exactly.
So, yeah, he gets that. I think the Minneapolis Miracle play is more, miraculous because of it was, 6 seconds, one play. They had no chance really of winning.
Yeah, and that wasn't even the goal to score a touchdown. It was just to.
Yeah, and then yesterday they had a whole half. They had 30 minutes to come back. So it was still very impressive.
Yeah,
but I would say that the Minneapolis Miracle is more miraculous than yesterday.
Yes.
Although, if you want to title it the, Minneapolis Miracle Part 2, go ahead and do that and make a T-shirt or something.
I don't know if I'm ready to do that. But, yeah, I think the way you're, impressive, one is very impressive and one is, it's shocking one of the most, and miraculous.
It's one of the and some people I don't think understand why it's so impressive. They just look at who the Vikings opponent was and they're like, well, they shouldn't have been down by that much in the first place.
Yeah, and that.
But you can't look at it that way. You got to look at they were able to stay composed. You look at the Vikings, even last year's Vikings. Last year's Vikings probably were just come out in the third quarter, done all the same stuff they did in the first half. And lost 33-0, and this would have been a terrible loss. You go into the bye and things like that, but they didn't do that. They changed what they were doing. They came out, with a different. I think I saw somewhere that Kevin Stefanski just threw out the playbook. He's like, okay, just ignore this. We're just gonna run no huddle.
Kirk Cousins was using a whiteboard at one point, drawing plays up and stuff. I heard.
So, yeah, this is a different team than last year, for many reasons. Dalvin Cook is a big reason, but Kirk Cousins is being used a lot more effectively with the play calling and everything, and Stephon Diggs I think is even playing at a higher level because Thielen's been out for a while and Diggs has still been able to tear it up pretty well. He's had a couple of lower number games, but he still had some pretty good games as well without Thielen being on the field, which is impressive because he's usually probably doubled most of the game.
Yeah, he's been great.
Yeah, it's an impressive. It's one of the most impressive wins I've seen the Vikings ever play since I've been alive.
Yes, not just this season. This is one of the most impressive victories I have ever seen from the Vikings.
The last one I can think that was like this was that Cardinals game with Brett Favre. It was 2010.
Yeah.
And the Vikings were terrible in 2010. I think the Cardinals were too. So that game didn't even really mean a whole lot.
Yeah.
And all the other seasons where they've been good, like 2009 and 98, they didn't really have a game like this where they were pretty much down and out. And they, fought their way back, clawed their way back, and still found a way to win. And I think that's more impressive than blowing out your opponents 100%. Over and over and over again.
100% more impressive. And that's the thing is you're down 20 points. So is that concerning? Yes. Is the way that a backup quarterback built that lead on you concerning? A little bit, yeah. But he was working with a short field. No, he wasn't that bad either.
He's not that bad.
And they were working with a short field. And once Zimmer figured his stuff out, he did not look very good after that.
Oh, yeah. Just put a little. Usually, it's the same thing. You just put some pressure on these guys, and they don't know what to do.
100%. One thing I wanted to mention real quick. It's a little coach speaky, cliched a little bit. Good teams win ugly.
Yeah.
a bad Vikings team, like you said, this Vikings team last year, no way they win this football game. They roll over at some point and it's done. Maybe they score a touchdown, maybe two, but there's no way they come all the way back.
Oh yeah, Kirk and Kyle Rudolph are getting their garbage time touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's happening. But then they lose the game and it's probably by 14 points and it's ho-hum, whatever. Mm-hmm. This team, that's impressive. Yeah, it's different. This is a good team that should have lost that game and found a way to make it happen, even though everybody was playing like garbage. And they were like dropping the ball and like a lot of uncharacteristic stuff.
It was probably the worst first half they've played all year.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Even, you look at the Bears game and that was pretty terrible.
Yeah, that one was really bad too. I think that was the one I was thinking of.
But I think coming into yesterday, the Vikings were like, I think they said on the broadcast that the Vikings were like third in first half points scored.
Mm-hmm.
And they had 0. And Vic Fangio, he knows the Vikings offense.
Yes.
Because he knows what Mike Zimmer does because he was with the Bears for a bunch of years. So, and he did well. The Bears were always a difficult team for the Vikings to play against, no matter what their record was. So,
and
we thought this game was going to be close.
Yes.
And it was in a different sort of way. But I wasn't surprised when the Broncos went up, like, was it 10-0? I wasn't surprised.
Not at all. Yeah. Was I expecting 20-0 before things got moving? No, I was not expecting that. But we did say that. And that I think is part of what's bothering me about these Kirk Cousins takes too, is that it really is taking away a lot of credit from how well the Broncos played in stretches of that game, because they really looked pretty good. And defensively, especially, they were very sure that Dalvin Cook was not going to beat them, and they did that. And you have to at least give them, 2 claps for that. But
he had like 2 screen passes that were pretty good.
Mm.
But other than that,
they pretty much.
He had the touchdown, and then that terrible 2. They got to get some better 2-point conversion calls, because the 2 they've tried this year, or no, they had the one with Kyle Rudolph against the Cowboys. That was good because he was 2 feet taller than the defensive back.
Yeah,
so
that one made sense.
But these like shifty
don't do a jet sweep when you're on. Yeah, don't do
a
jet sweep on the goal line. There's just
don't back
stupid.
yourself up further behind the line of scrimmage than you have to be when you're 2 feet away from the goal line. It's just that wasn't a good play call yesterday. That one was it was against the Bears, I think, where they scored and Diggs and Thielen were on the same side of the field for some reason. Everyone knew that Diggs was getting the ball.
And nobody was even thinking about it going anywhere else, and the play was blown up right away. Yes, I do remember that. Oh, God, I wanted to mention one other thing before we get into some of the really bad stuff.
Jaron Curse, I'm torn on him.
Why?
Something happened to him this year that
What?
rubbed you the wrong way?
Actually, there was one thing, but just exclusively from a playing standpoint. I feel the same way about Jaron Curse as I feel about all of these cornerbacks / defensive backs. Save Harrison Smith. Everybody else is a liability, and I don't trust you. And
Anthony Harris has been pretty good.
Yeah, it's true. He's been okay. But even him, though, you're right. He's not a liability. That's a great point. So we'll just stick to corners and Jaron Curse.
Did not miss him at all.
Not even a tiny bit. And then also people are like, well, it's maybe the most important interception of the season Turner. No, it was not. Andrew.
Did you see him celebrate afterwards? It was 20-0?
Yeah. Oh, it made me so mad. Everybody run down here. No, get off the field so the offense can come back on and score 20 points so you don't lose.
Yeah.
That was a very important play in the game, but I didn't miss him at all either. It's obvious now, whether it's schematic or otherwise, opposing teams are going to attack the cornerbacks and take those
Xavier Rhodes,
specifically. Take those free yards. I can't blame them. It seems like the Vikings are cool with it. It seems like the plan is to give them the 4 or 5 yards, and then it winds up being 3rd and 2. They'll try and run it. We won't let them run it. We'll get off the field on 3rd down. We're all good.
I wouldn't say they're okay with it.
Yeah, well, I hope not.
Mike Zimmer did not seem very happy with it today
he did
talked.
not. Yes.
I think that's going to be things are going to look a lot different when they play the Seahawks. Whether that's using more defensive backs on the field, like getting 4 or 5 out there plus the safeties, and maybe having just Eric Kendricks out there and not Anthony Barr, if they have to do that. Because right now teams, they're not afraid of throwing in Xavier Rhodes' direction because they're either the receiver's going to catch it or they're going to get a long penalty.
The other thing too that is a bummer for these defensive backs is a lot of times, and Rhodes had one, I think, and Curse had one where they're in perfect position.
Yep.
And the ball just goes like an inch under their hand. But that's a completion that you cannot have, especially in these games when it's like so obvious that these backup quarterbacks are just working your dudes. It's like you got to break that ball up.
Yeah, but how many times has that happened this year? I feel like that's happened a lot.
All the time. That's what I'm saying. It's a problem.
If it becomes more common, then it's not it's not a coincidence that
you can't keep doing
those keep happening. That they get all these close catches. It's something that has to do with the defensive backs, and I don't know if Xavier Rhodes is hurt. Well, there's always that chance.
Yeah, when isn't he?
Or
Probably.
he's lost a step. He's clearly lost a step.
Clearly, I
don't
kind of want to call him washed.
See him. Yeah. I don't know, because I just think there's something else that we don't know. Because I don't think Mike Zimmer would keep putting him out there if he didn't think he could handle it.
If it was only performance based, he probably isn't playing anymore on a Mike Zimmer.
Yeah, and
I think that's a great point.
I think it's safe to say that he's probably not going to be with the Vikings next year.
Not at that salary.
At least not yet. Not at his salary. He's either going to have to take a big pay cut or he's going to have to just go elsewhere because he's not worth the amount of money he's due. I think like 11 or 12 million. He's not worth that. Trey Waynes will be gone probably. Mackenzie Alexander, he might be back.
Jaron Curse wants nothing to do with the Vikings in the future,
doesn't.
we hear.
Even though that was made up. We ran away with him saying, no, I don't want to. Minnesota's not in my future.
Yeah, literally answered a question about your future plans with the Vikings.
Run away with
you guys are making too much out of it. We asked you a question and you answered it. I'm not making too much of it, dude.
He said no.
One word.
So usually that means that means no.
I can't handle the that just didn't happen. No, I don't remember that.
It's
like, what?
It's the media.
You told 100%. It's fake news, man. I don't have to acknowledge that. I'm just going to act like I never took place. Oh, okay. We'll just move on and act like that's normal.
Internet evidence.
Oh, it's crazy. What else
do
we need to talk about?
Yeah, the secondary needs to be fixed.
Yes.
It's a problem, specifically the cornerbacks. They got to go against the Seahawks, who have some pretty good wide receivers. I don't know what the status is of Tyler Lockett, because I think he got pretty banged up in the Niners game on Monday night. So I'll have to see that. But they still have Josh Gordon and DK Metcalf, which is pretty
the DK Metcalf
frightening. Who's gonna cover him?
God almighty.
And especially if Harrison Smith, can't go, that's going to be even more frightening. Which I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't, because he got a hamstring injury. So you just got to see how serious that is. The Vikings haven't dealt enough with hamstring injuries this year.
He'll probably try and play
already
next week, so it won't be a big deal. I'm sure.
Yeah, well, luckily they get a week off, so he gets that extra time off.
Thank you for reminding me. I almost forgot it's the bye week.
And then
I meant it more from a rushing him back from the hamstring joke.
Yeah.
But
you don't want him to practice.
No, yeah, exactly.
But I feel good about this team. I feel like they can win the Super Bowl.
God, why did you say it out loud, dude? What are you doing?
I have to
like that. No, I'm just joking. I honestly
I'm not putting them on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
You're totally right. I knocked on wood, so you're good. I agree with you completely, and here's why: is because this is the perfect way for the Vikings to do it. The Vikings are never going to win the Super Bowl with the 98 team where everybody's expecting them to win the Super Bowl. The Vikings are going to win the Super Bowl like the Ravens with Joe Flacco, where they're just going to all of a sudden put 4 games together and everybody's going to be like, we don't really know how that happened, but now they're Super Bowl champions.
I feel like there aren't a lot of teams who are like super great in the regular season. I feel like there aren't a lot that go on to win the Super Bowl.
No.
Usually there's a team that comes along and can figure them out because, they're a good team. And they can figure that out.
100%. And you just need the one, especially in the playoffs, you just need to figure them out for one game.
Just one game,
so,
yeah.
So that's it. Makes it so difficult, which is also why it's so stupid impressive that teams like the Patriots have made the playoffs for like 19 straight.
Well, they've made
years
it
or
because
whatever
of
it
their
is.
division.
I mean, that's part of it, yeah. But even the...
I think I saw...
I should say the Super Bowl stuff, because to not get figured out by any of those teams, any of those playoff years is impressive. And also,
Well,
how did the Giants do it twice?
I think it was like Field Yates put out a stat of teams with the current active like consecutive win streaks, like how many seasons in a row they've had a winning season. And some teams, I think the Vikings had like 2, Chiefs have like 3 or something. The Patriots have 19.
It's so stupid.
Well, they get 6 free wins like every year.
And I've been talking about that a little bit with some of my work buddies, and that is such an outrageous advantage for them to have to play 3 garbage teams twice a year, every single year, or at the very least 2. Let's say 2, just for the sake of like, making it a fair argument. Every year, that's 4 free wins. That's enough to get you to the playoffs right there. Drives me nuts.
No, but I feel good about this Vikings team just because they've shown. I think they've just shown they can win in a lot of different ways.
Nailed it.
Like they can win a primetime game on the road. They can win when they're down 20 points. They can win a shootout like they did against the Lions. They can, win just like a grinded out type of game like they did against the Redskins. They can win in a variety of different ways just because of the players they have on their roster. Just
so many weapons, yeah.
Yeah, they have a lot of weapons on both sides of the ball, and for as bad as their defense has played, to them, their
right,
terms,
though.
they played bad.
Yeah.
But you have to still have confidence that Mike Zimmer can, fix it up a little bit in the bye week, because he actually did that last year. Because you remember the first 4 or 5 games, the Vikings defense was terrible. And then Mike Zimmer made some tweaks in the bye week, and they were a lot better.
A lot better.
So I think the jury's still out.
That was the bar thing, wasn't it? After where Big Cat was just linebackers on tiny wide receivers, game after game after game. Boof, that was frustrating.
I still have confidence that Mike Zimmer can fix the defense because he's done that before. It's his specialty. I'm sure he's going to spend day and night during the bye week, trying to figure out new or different ways to fix it. I doubt he's going to go on vacation.
Can't imagine.
So
not.
his vacation's going to be like, I'm going to go to Dunkin' Donuts for breakfast and leave my office for this half an hour of the day.
He like flies to the Kentucky Ranch so he can watch film there, and then fly back and watch more.
He probably
film.
won't even leave. He'll get like Postmates or something or DoorDash.
Yeah, DoorDash. That's exactly right. Excuse me. What else did I want to discuss about bad stuff? I think we touched on all of it. Defensive backs.
And hey, for once,
stuff.
it was the other team's kicker that missed a clutch kick in the 4th quarter.
Incredible.
When does that happen?
Incredible. It was so strange to be on the other side of that.
Yeah.
To be like, so this is how this feels. To just like,
okay,
I guess we'll
so
take the ball back.
They're going to go up 6 points, and then
and they'll have to score a touchdown, but it looks good. I think they can still do it. Yeah, at
and
that point,
I
think they still would have won. Yeah, it was huge.
That was huge because the Broncos needed a touchdown at the end.
Yes.
Just like last week when the Cowboys needed a touchdown at the end. It makes a huge difference.
It really does. You got to make your field goals. Speaking of field goals, do you know that they're kicking 70-yarders in Mexico City in warm-ups right now?
Yeah, I did see that. That's like Josh Allen throwing a 70-yard pass.
That's exactly
when
right.
He's going to do that in the game.
Totally. Do you know Sammy Sosa used to hit really long home runs in batting practice?
When is Andy Reid going to be like, we're on the 30-yard line? our own 30-yard line. We should kick a field goal. And then if we miss it, then the other team gets the ball on the 30-yard.
Right here. But it's Mexico City, so let's try a 70-yarder. Bleep it.
If they're up by like 40 points, then yeah, go for it. But
yeah, even then, probably not.
Otherwise, who cares?
Oh, drives me crazy.
That's like all those trick videos, and they're like, I kicked it through a hula hoop in a baby tub, and it's like,
how many tries did it take you?
Yeah, it took you like 37 tries.
Yeah, did you do that all day?
We didn't see those tapes.
Yeah. Walk up, try one. Now I'm impressed. Yeah. Okay, I'm impressed now. Yeah. Who drives me crazy? That's like I tweeted about it before we started, but it's like Steph Curry making like, oh, do you see him make the one from like the hallway back there? It's like, yeah, and it still doesn't matter. You see me kick that piece of garbage into the garbage can? Also doesn't matter for this.
The only thing that matters are the people that can hit the dunk in the dunk contest on their first try.
Yes.
Those are impressive.
Totally. Otherwise, I'm not impressed. Get out of here.
Guys like Vince Carter and Kobe, and I'm sure Zion Williamson could do that if he was in the dunk contest, but he never will be because, too good for...
Oh, that would be fun. Could you imagine in a perfect world if we could watch 19-year-old LeBron and 19-year-old Zion Williamson have a dunk contest? Oh, God damn.
Back in the day, I believe Carmelo beat LeBron in the high school dunk contest.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to say. One of the most incredible dunk contests you'll ever see is the McDonald's All-American game when LeBron was in there. That's like one of the best dunk contests ever. Yeah. They're all above the rim, like chin up above.
His head is like over the backboard.
Yes, it's so awesome. Every now and then they'll play that on ESPN or whatever. Okay, so the Vikings win. It was insane that they came back and won.
Yeah.
Kirk was really good. Defense needs to get better. But overall, heading into the bye, I think this team is in very, very good shape. And I think the two of us, are confident in their chances to not only make it to the playoffs, which is like a 90% chance they're going to make the playoffs right now, if I'm not mistaken. Not only make the playoffs, but get into the playoffs and do something more than just lose right away. I think this team is like ramping towards that. I think that's a safe assessment.
Right now, I would still be surprised if they got past the divisional round. Mm-hmm. Right now, the way they are.
Yeah, and not shocked.
That can change.
Not
if
shocked,
they go into,
I would be surprised if
they go into Seattle and win, and they beat the Packers on Monday night. They're still in contention for home field advantage.
100%.
I think they're only 2 games behind because the 49ers actually won yesterday. Which sucks. But the 49ers play the Packers.
Yes,
week, so
play the Packers.
One of them has to lose.
And the Vikings have all of the Green Bay, Detroit, and Chicago all at home. Yeah. And so this is shaping up to be where I hate when people, they control their own destiny. And it's like, well, yeah, because you're always trying to win all the games.
The Saints play the Falcons in like 2 weeks, who are...
All of a sudden the Falcons are okay.
Sneakily playing pretty good. So that's no gimme either. So the Vikings are still, I think, first round bye is a better shot than home field advantage.
Yep.
Lose to Seattle, that's probably out the window.
100%.
But even if they lose to the Seahawks, I still think they can win the division.
Yep.
So right now, I'd be surprised if they got past the divisional round.
If you had to guess right now if they were going to get a first round bye or not, which would you put money on?
I would say no.
Yeah, I would put money on them not getting a first
round
bye. I would love to see it. But I don't think
I still think they have a great shot to win the division.
Yeah.
I could see that, and they get one, home game.
And they'll win that game at home. If they get a home playoff game, they will win that.
And that home game could come against, the Packers.
Oh, that would be delicious.
Could come against the Packers, or who else is in contention? It could be.
No, that's like it is set basically. It's New Orleans and Seattle and the Vikings and Green Bay and whoever is and 49ers and whoever is going to win the
East,
the garbage. Yeah.
So if they win the division, they're probably playing the Seahawks or the Packers, which are two teams that they're going to play.
Yeah.
In these next 5 games. So,
and
even if they don't win the division, they'll probably play either the Packers or the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Or the Eagles, whoever wins that division.
Depending on who wins.
So winning a first round game, no matter if they win the division or not, I still think they still have a very good shot because the Packers are not impressive. I don't care how many tweets Packers writers tweet out complaining about the Vikings, not getting pass interference or whatever, which is hilarious coming
Absolutely
from a Packers
hilarious.
fan. Did you see? Was it last week when Aaron Rodgers was like, "Oh, I'm so happy we finally got a call to go our way"? I think my jaw hit the floor when I read that.
Fainted.
Like, are you serious?
Oh, it drives me.
You watch your games?
That is like, there are so few things that trigger me as quickly as Packer fans complaining about calls for or against the Packers. It's like, I just cannot do it. I just can't do it. No. I have no patience for it. Yeah, I think they're in good shape heading into the playoffs. Let's talk a little bit. I want to talk before we go, because we're not running out of time here, but did you know that somebody recently hit somebody else in a football game with a helmet? Because,
was their helmet on? Was it on?
He took the helmet off of the guy then bopped him with the helmet again. But it wasn't, luckily it wasn't on the crown part. This was, so I read about this and I was like, oh, it was terrible, dude.
Yeah. They play next week.
Those two teams again?
2 weeks. Sorry.
Oh, that will be amazing.
And I think they
need to flex that.
Well, they just flexed it out of, I think it was a 4:00 game, and they flexed it to 1:00, probably because they don't want as much attention on it.
Make sure no one can watch this.
Because, it was on Thursday night, which amplified it even more because it was the only game on, and then Friday everyone had that whole day to talk about it. That was bad.
It was really bad. Where do you stand? Well, obviously, I think we can both. I'm going to assume that you feel like hitting people with helmets is maybe not a good thing to do on a football field. So let's we both are there. Let's throw that out. Where are you at with how it went down, like between the two guys?
I don't understand the people that blame or that say Mason Rudolph started it, because Myles Garrett clearly just kept bringing him down to the ground after he threw the ball, and people were like, he didn't know he was throwing the ball. He's a defensive end in the NFL. He's gonna know if he doesn't have the ball or not.
Yeah. He's been taught to act like he doesn't know.
He's a good defensive end, so he's definitely gonna know.
He knows.
So he brought him to the ground, and even when he went to the ground, he didn't let go of him. Mm-hmm. So Mason Rudolph's like, hey, dude, get off me. To which then he tried to rip Myles Garrett's helmet off. And then Garrett's like, oh, okay, so
I'll rip we're doing?
I'll rip your helmet off because I'm way stronger than you.
That to me.
And as he was ripping the helmet off, Mason Rudolph, kicked him in the junk. People were like, oh, he did that because Mason Rudolph kicked him. And it's like, no, he kicked him because he was trying to rip his head off with the helmet.
Yeah. And I bet that wasn't fun or comfortable for him while the helmet was coming off. Yeah. I bet it wasn't.
And,
awesome.
It probably wouldn't have escalated any further because it seemed like the situation was under wraps. But Mason Rudolph made the mistake of trying to be his, he had little man syndrome or something, and trying to go after giant Myles Garrett.
100%. This is what happened. That was what I saw, right? So you watch the whole thing, and it's like, oh, okay, they're going back and forth. They obviously don't like each other. Oh, now we're doing the helmet thing. There's a point right then.
Could have saved a lot of trouble.
Normal quarterbacks, and I don't mean that in because he's bad at being a quarterback. You were taught as a quarterback to walk away from that. That's not your job to fight dudes. Your offensive linemen, who, by the way, are kicking him in the head right now, going to take care of that for you. Just walk away, and they'll do that. That's their job. He's been taught to do that. Mason Rudolph did not do that. Mason Rudolph only saw red and anger and raged and went after Myles. And that, to me, is I'm not saying Mason Rudolph is at fault, because obviously Myles Garrett still had
He didn't help the situation.
Yes, but there was a point where...
and then he did the arm raise. Whoa, he hit me.
Can you believe that? It's like, well, yeah, man, because your helmet's off and you were running at him and he was holding your helmet. Yeah. What did you think was going to happen when you rushed the guy holding your helmet in his hand? Yeah. Come on. Figure it out. But yeah, coach, more coach. I'm just like all coach speak today. My coach would have smacked me upside the head, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, can you imagine if somebody on the Vikings did that? Mike Zimmer would be like, "Oh, hey, you're
Go
cut."
nuts. Yeah, you're out, dude. Like, what are you doing? And not only that, but never mind the safety part of it. Like, let's say he hits you with the other side of that, Mason. Who's starting at quarterback for Pittsburgh next week? Probably the least of your concerns if you got a cracked cranium. But you get my point is, like, you're supposed to be the starter, and you're putting your dome in a spot where it could get, like, caved in. Dude.
Also, wasn't there like 10 seconds left?
Yeah, there was
like,
no time left.
Why is he trying to pick a fight? It seems like a lot like, when there's a hockey blowout.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
And then there's just fights for the rest.
and what do those announcers say is, well, the emotions are getting the best of them right now. Emotions got the best of Mason Rudolph in that situation.
It really reminded me a lot of like those hockey fights that are just brutal, like the Marty McSorleys or the Todd Bertuzzis, where it's just like
Bertuzzi
he did it. I know, poor Bertuzzi. He did it to himself.
It's true. It's true. Well, and then I don't. Not poor Bertuzzi. He was suspended for a year, maybe 2 years. Yeah. And he totally changed the way he played hockey after that. He was not the same type of dude. And so from that angle, I give, because Bertuzzi played for Vancouver. Vancouver and the Wild were in the same division. I hated Todd Bertuzzi.
Oh, yeah, that happened to a Wild player, right?
No, that wasn't to a Wild player, but he would do stuff like that all the time to the Wild. But I think that guy was I want to say it was a Columbus. I don't know that for sure.
Oh, okay.
But I hated Todd Bertuzzi. And then Bertuzzi came back, and I made a point to watch him to see if he was going to still be the same turd, and he wasn't. So I got to give him props for that. What else were we going to... Oh, yeah, the Kaepernick thing. Before we get into Kaepernick, final thoughts on Mason Rudolph getting hit in the head with his own helmet.
I think all the suspension stuff was appropriate. Although Marquise Pouncey was trying to defend his quarterback, can't kick someone in the head when they're down on the ground. Especially.
That's against the rules. Although that was like the most hardcore thing ever.
Yeah,
was Pouncey going after him. I was like,
don't mess with the Pounceys because they were like really good friends with Aaron Hernandez. Mm-hmm. So
that probably tells you all you need to know. And did you? Yeah. Friends with Aaron Hernandez, watch the way he reacted to that guy hurting his friend, a guy he was supposed to
teammate. Yeah.
That's hardcore. That guy's not one to be trifled with.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care about repercussions or anything. And I don't think Mason Rudolph deserved to be suspended. It's not my white privilege speaking or anything that you get accused of if you say that online. He's not the one who smacked someone in the face with a helmet. He instigated, so he should get fined, which I think he will or he did. But suspension, no, not for him. Yeah, suspension for Myles Garrett. I don't think Myles Garrett should get a suspension going into next year. I think the rest of the year is fine. We got to remember too. This is football. Mm-hmm. These guys pretty much do the same thing to each other with their helmets on.
Yes.
So
I just saw the guy that co-wrote Chappelle's show, Neil Brennan.
Murderers.
He goes, you were doing football in the non-football place.
Yeah. There's a quarterback, a running back, 40 murderers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anytime I see the highlight, the news thing, that's what I think. You were doing football in the non-football place. Can't blame me for that.
Neil Brennan.
I bet you said that. Yes, so good. But that was what that felt like to me was football is violent.
I think I think the NFL did a good job. They for once they got on something quick. They're like, okay, just you're suspended. Just stop. Okay,
never again.
And
please.
The Browns are just a train wreck. They won the game and you wouldn't even know.
That's the best part is, do you want to know how the Browns are doing this year? They won that game, but that's what happened. We're not talking about the win. We're not talking about how they played. We're talking about somebody hitting somebody with a helmet.
And what do you do? Do you fire Freddie Kitchens?
I think you have to.
Because he's not, at this point, he's not the right coach.
Yep.
But do you not fire him because it's only 1 year and you're like, we fire so many coaches after 1 year and it never works out. So should we, give this guy another shot because it's 2 years? But they just did that with Hugh Jackson.
Totally. That to me is you fire Kitchens and you fire whoever is responsible for hiring all these guys that suck so bad before the year is over that they're not going to be good enough to come back the following season. Whoever's responsible for that, and I'm sure it's because it's Cleveland, it's like 8 different guys, whatever.
And whoever they pick to replace Kitchens is going to be the wrong guy, and they're going to be in this situation all over again.
Well, the Kitchens thing was stupid because it feels like they were picking him. It's like picking a field goal kicker based on who holds, or a punter based on who holds best for the field goal kicker, right? Freddie Kitchens was picked because he got along best with Baker, but now Baker sucks. Now you got an offensive line coach who's has no business being a head coach right now.
Freddie Kitchens is like the backup quarterback who fills in nicely for a couple games and then gets the starting job the next year.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. The interim label. That's totally it.
And
now he's starting a playoff game. And it's like, oh, whoops.
So unfortunately, Kevin Stefanski will probably be the next, head coaching victim in Cleveland because he's doing pretty well.
That poor guy. He will be too, which is the sad
Probably
thing.
Will.
He almost got it last year, didn't he?
He did.
Sure, he's on the list going forward.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, they got to win it this year because it's going to be really hard to. He's really good and he's going to be gone. And I bet Kubiak probably doesn't stick around for much longer. They got to strike now. They got to win. All right, bud. Wednesday. Nothing to preview. Are we off on Wednesday? We'll figure it out. We're going to do it?
We'll figure it out.
Sounds good.
We can do like a season review so far. And maybe
perfect
expectations.
Beat me to
going
it.
Ahead,
We're going to do our awards when nobody else is doing awards. Yeah. Saw you during the mid-seasons. Not us. Bye-week awards.
The bleeding purpies.
Oh, God. Nailed it. I can't believe we didn't think of that before. This is great. Great news. All right, but Skull Vikes, I will see you on Wednesday to hand out the bleeding purpies.
Skull.
Skull.